There you go.
Hello.
Perfect. So, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Doing good as well. Thank you so much for asking. So, guys, tonight we have an awesome guest. We have Ariel in the building. So let's give it an epic welcome to the show. Here we go.
Thank you.
Perfect. So let's get started. Tell me, starting the interview, tell me how it all started. I mean, where does your passion for voice acting started?
Sure. So it's actually funny. My interest and my passion for voice acting is pretty young. It's fairly new, but I've loved acting since I was young. I just always drawn to the actors in movies, and oh my God, how do they do that? How do they get in that? But of course, like animated shows and movies and stuff like that. As a kid, I was like, I always wondered where those voices came from. What were they doing? I also thought it was interesting too that, actors get recognized on the street, but voice actors don't until they start talking. And I always thought that was kind of cool too. But going, through middle school, high school, college, I was doing acting, but more theater oriented. And I loved that. I loved theater and musical theater and doing all of that. But in college, I kind of felt like, I need to have a career. I need to have something that is going to pay the bills, right? But I still had that love for acting. So I was like, okay, I'm going to stay in the media production aspect of it. And I started doing editing. And I fell in love with editing. And video editing and doing production, and I was like, well, maybe I'd work for music videos or something. So after that, I joined an internship through my university, and I got the opportunity to move out from North Carolina to LA, which is where I'm at now. I've been out here for about 4 years. Packed up my car and left a week after graduation and drove out here to pursue post-production. So editing.
How cool.
Yeah, so it was an interesting journey, to say the least. Yeah. But, through some amazing people and some amazing networks, I was able to get a job at All3 Media and then Warner Brothers.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I worked as an assistant for the SVP of Post, Mark Petula, and that was such an awesome experience, being on the lot and working with people and being able to, go around on the golf carts and give people tours and stuff like that. And that was something that I'll always cherish. But I was like, it's still not what I'm wanting to do. Yeah. So from there, I moved to a show for WB and worked as a post-production assistant. And I worked for Kathy Frank on Manifest and on NBC. And I did that for 2 seasons, worked with her on some other pilots in between, and it was an experience of a lifetime. I was so happy with my team, and I had some amazing bosses that I worked under. And even some editors and some assistant editors allowed me to shadow their work and just kind of get a feel for if that's what I wanted to do. Unfortunately, it wasn't. And it was just kind of like I hit a dead end. And I was like, this stuff was so cool to me and I wanted to do it, but I'm not doing it. So what's wrong? What am I missing here? And then I started getting asked to do temp ADR. And essentially, it's audio dialogue replacement. I'm going to feel really stupid if that's not actually what it stands for, but audio dialogue replacement. And so what you do is, for when editors and assistant editors are working on their projects, sometimes they need to sub in some temporary audio for an actor, maybe who mumbled, or maybe there was an airplane noise, or maybe the writers made a different addition to the script. And they had me come in and just record something really quickly and do that. And it picked up, and the creator of the show was like, Ariel, I want you and only you to be the main character for this, and do all of the other female voices, and even do like the young boy voice,
So cool.
because you're the one that can do it. And it was so cool. There was actually a part of season 1 which was amazing. I got to go to the sound stage, and I was just helping my producer. I was just running food, but I happened to be there when they needed a voice for the episode, and they were just going to ask my producer to do it. My producer knew that I liked doing voices, so she was like, Ariel, can you just go up there and make like an automated robot type voice for a flight simulator? And I was like, sure. I'll try. So they gave me not even a script. They gave me one thing to say, one word, and I had to just repeat it like 5 times in the same intonation, the same level. And I did it. And they liked it so much, they kept it in the show. And so it's like, I think it's season 1, episode 11, I actually got to hear my voice when I watched it back. And that awoke something in me, I think, because I was like, that is so cool. Yeah. Growing up, I never liked my voice. And to have people sitting at my office saying, we need you for this because you can do it, that was incredible. Cool. So I started doing more things like that, shadowing loop groups and doing more and more ADR, asking to do ADR. And then, February 2020? Yeah. February 2020, I started taking classes outside of work. I'm taking classes at Real Voice LA. I cannot pitch them enough, but they were amazing. And I studied under Kirsten Day, who is an amazing voice actor. And I stepped into the booth for the first time, and I read the script. There was just basically a simple script for here's our intro class. Just go in and see what you can do with this. And I did, and I was super nervous. Obviously, there was a room full of people I didn't know, who I felt like were much better than me, more qualified than me, but having a little bit of that imposter syndrome. And I did it, and I walked out of the booth, and Kirsten looked at the class and looked at me and said, and some people just know how to get in the booth and do it. And I was stunned. I was like, that is the best compliment that I could have gotten, not knowing what the heck I was doing. And there was just that validation I don't feel like I ever really got with anything else, so I just kept doing it. I kept doing classes, and I kept, pouring my heart out on the mic. Unfortunately, right after that, COVID. Yeah. And I got laid off from WB. And all of that was really crazy. We were 1 week into a pilot. We prepped and wrapped in 1 week. It was nuts. And then after that, I was like, well, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with myself now? Yeah. And so I decided that I was going to throw myself into voice acting full time, and just started taking class after class after class after class at Real Voice. And it was amazing. Yeah. I got to work with some amazing people, and I've made so many friends and contacts through there. And so I was just really inspired, and I was like, I'm just going to keep doing this. And when the time came around, WB, a few months later, when they started to start moving again on shows, they called me, and they were like, do you want to keep working here? Do you want us to rehire you? And I was like, all due respect, no. I think I found it. I think I found what I want to do. And right now I have the time to do it. Yeah. So, I said goodbye to my Manifest crew, which was bittersweet. And I just started doing voice acting, setting up my profiles, reaching out, taking more classes, doing coaching. I coached under Kirsten Day for probably about a month and a half. And I she helped me create this commercial reel, which I have linked in my bio, and it was the most fun I've ever had. I got to go in a booth with Mike DeLay and as our engineer, and I say he, but it was a group effort on all three of our parts, like made this amazing demo reel. And I was like, this is what I want to do. This is so cool. So after that, I started spreading that commercial demo around and doing all these things. But yeah, I mean, like I've been auditioning for gigs online, and it's been hard. It is a hard thing to do.
Yeah, I bet.
But it is, that's a long-winded way of saying that sometimes things just line up and happen. And I never expected to be in voice acting. But again, like I said earlier, like I never really liked my voice until, I don't know, something happened, something switched. And I think it was like people telling me, people saying, you have a lovely voice, you have a voice that can do many different things. So why not explore that? And so now, for the first time in my life, I love my voice and I love that aspect about me. And I'm just, I'm excited to keep working on it.
That's so cool. Wow. and tell me how you usually prepare to start voice acting. I mean, do you have like a go-to meal, or do you listen to some music, or how do you usually prepare?
So it really depends. It really depends on where I'm at, what I'm doing. If I'm here not doing anything, I'll take my time. Like if it's not a rush for an audition or anything, I will, I try to make sure I drink tea. Like anybody you talk to that does anything with their voice will say like tea with honey.
Yeah.
Too hot.
That's true. That's true.
But I love tea. I have a drawer just for tea. So I would say that any herbal teas are really good. I try to avoid caffeine. Obviously, caffeine's not super great for you anyway, but like for your throat, it can dry out your voice. I'm personally really bad at drinking water. I know that sounds dumb, but like consistently drinking water, I'm not so good at it. Yeah. So I try to I've recently gotten back into it, being like, okay, I have my water bottle here. I'm going to fill this up as like certain amount of times per day. I'm going to write down when I have the water. Because if I don't write down how much water I have, then I won't, you know what I mean? Like I can't track it. But yeah, tea, water. I learned a lot of cool vocal warm-ups from Kirsten. She kind of, it looks really silly, but massaging your jaw, opening your jaw, making really loud noises and bringing it all the way up and then all the way down, getting that full range of your register. That's super important, because sometimes I'll walk into the booth, completely forget to warm up, not drink enough water. My lips are smacking and my voice is hoarse, and I'll start talking and then it'll just like squeak out. And it's like, okay. It's just like somebody who doesn't tune their instrument and then goes on stage and they immediately realize they've made a mistake. Yeah. I think I take that for granted sometimes, right? Because sometimes I'll just, walk in it, because my booth is a closet in my room. Yeah. So it's, you don't think about it. You don't think about it being like a stage or like an actual studio, right? Or like a booth. Yeah. But you have to treat it like that. And I'm really bad about it. So, talking from the pedestal. But I think that it's really important for me specifically, when I'm going to do an audition, you want to put your best foot forward. You want to give your best, the best tuning that you can of your instrument. But as far as like, other things, like when I'm not doing auditions, if I'm just doing, stuff for my Instagram, like the little videos and pictures and stuff, I'll listen to music. I have the Spotify premium, so I'm just like constantly blasting music all around the house. But like I'll like listen to my pop playlist and just get really pumped up, and it's something that I'm proud of. My voice is something that I'm proud of, and it's not. I mean, you can just get in a booth and do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works, but other times it doesn't. And you can really get in your head about that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think I don't really have a set routine. It's just more of like, what does my body need in that moment? You know what I mean?
Oh, cool. And when you finish, like after a long day of voice acting, what do you usually do? Like, do you not talk at all for the rest of the day? Or
I try to. As you can probably tell, I'm pretty extroverted, pretty bubbly. I like to talk.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect.
So it's hard. It's hard to, but you need, like, I personally, like, if I'm doing a lot of like coaching or my classes, or if I'm doing gigs all day, like, I will try to go on vocal rest for like a full day.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, I live with my boyfriend. I want to talk to him, like, if he's here. But, like, you know, for the most part, I try to, like, not talk as much as I can, because your body needs to rest. Yeah. And anybody who does voice acting will tell you that you get more worn out than you think you would, like, after doing something like that, especially if you're doing video games. Like screaming, doing a lot of efforts like that. That stuff wrecks your voice. So you need to just relax and, you know, take that time you need to rest. It's just like taking a nap after like a hard labor. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, your voice needs to rest. Your vocal cords need to rest. Otherwise, they're just going to keep hitting each other, because that's what they're doing when you talk. They're hitting each other. And after a long day of that, they're tired. So I would say vocal rest for a day if I can do it.
It did happen to me once. I'm also a DJ, so one time I play in this festival, and I was screaming because I was super excited. So I was literally screaming. I mean, and the sound engineer people would tell me, "Dude, there's a microphone here." And I was like, "I don't need it. I'm just gonna scream." I was like, "Okay." So I was just screaming and screaming for an hour, you know. And then at the end, like an hour later, I was like speaking normally, and then I grabbed something to eat, and then I was, you know, drinking a couple of drinks, and then I probably didn't spoke for like half an hour, and then when I started speaking, my voice was sounding horrible. My voice was you know, like super like a friend of mine was like, "Dude, you sound like the Godfather." And I was like, "Okay, that's pretty epic, but it hurts." So I had to drive back home, because I was like, I can't talk.
You can't speak.
It was horrible, because
it's rough.
That pain lasted for I think for like a day, and I just didn't spoke at all.
Yeah, you just complete vocal rest. Like, I remember the days leading up to my commercial demo, my coach, Kirsten, she was like, "Don't talk. For the next 2 days, don't talk. If you have to, only talk when you have to." And I was telling my parents about it. And my parents, who are super supportive, but like not totally sure what's going on, they were like, "You sure you can't talk? Are you sure?" Because they would call me and stuff, and I was like, "Look, I'll text you, but I can't talk for the next 2 days." And then, you know, the demo went great. So I mean, there's something to that. There's something to resting.
Yeah, of course. And tell me, what do you like the most about voice acting?
Oh God, getting to be different people by just using your voice. I mean, that's not something I ever thought about doing, but it makes a lot of sense. And like when you hear people like in all these video games and TV shows where they'll be talking, like, for instance, I know what's her name, Kristen Shaw, like Louise Belcher from Bob's Burgers. Are you familiar with that character at all?
No.
Well, she has the type of voice where if she talks to you, you hear Louise, or you hear the other character. She's not really putting it on so much. But then you can hear other people, and their voices are completely different when they're talking naturally versus when they're playing a character. And that baffles me. Like, it just is like, that is, you close your eyes and you see other people. I think That's awesome. That's amazing. That's not something like anybody, not anybody. Like, I know that on camera acting has its own, like, it's really, really hard to do and be convincing. But with voice acting, you have to be convincing when they can't see you. When you only have your voice and you have to do little inflections and you have to convey, probably the hardest part is conveying emotion through that. Learning, acting growing up, I knew how to convey a certain emotion to make someone feel something. Yeah. But when I had to learn it through voice acting, completely different. It's completely different. You're not having to use your facial expressions to do it, right? You have to make certain changes in your voice, minute changes in your voice to make somebody feel something. Yeah. I think that's probably one of my favorite parts.
Yeah. Plus you can wear comfortable clothes.
Yeah, right. Plus no one if you go into like a nice fancy studio, you might want to look nice, but that's the other cool thing about like working from home, right? Is that when you send in auditions, they don't know what you look like. Unless they go and search you up, they don't know. And most of the time they don't care. So, because it's about your voice. It's not about
Exactly. Yeah, totally. The other day I had this interview with Ariel Loftis. He's the Duke for Resident Evil 8. And when he started like out of the blue, he started to make like the voice of the Duke, and when I was editing the video and looking at it, you can see my face going like oh my god, like from because he was like doing it and his voice is it's totally different, but it was so amazing, that experience. I was like, that's so cool, because as you said, I mean, you can close your eyes and instantly you get the feeling that that you're hearing that character. So yeah, I agree that the fact that you can portray someone else, that's really cool. Yeah,
it's fun. It's a fun industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And tell me, so you're taking classes, so what are some of the things that they would teach you when you're learning voice acting?
So a big part of it is, let me think about the key ones. The key ones is, first of all, bring yourself to the table. Bring your voice to the table, which is actually funny, because you think that, like, oh, we need you to do this voice. You need you to do this voice. And while that's true, there's going to be like specific specs for what you need to do. Your voice is unique to you. It is. Like, people can do impressions of other people and that's fine, but your voice is unique to you. So funny enough, like, that's one of the biggest things that I've learned is taking my voice and then just tweaking it like a little bit to make those changes that need to be made. And that's probably the biggest thing. And then the other thing is being comfortable when you're delivering, which is funny because, booths, especially at home booths like mine, they're not super comfortable. but like wearing loose fitting clothes, being like making sure you're having water, when you're not recording, opening the door, getting air conditioning, and being comfortable is super important, because if you are tense and you are stressed, I've done this before where I'm just gonna like get these out really quickly and be done with it. And I listen to the recordings and I don't like it because I can tell that I'm stressed. Like, how you can convey emotions like sadness or happiness or excitement. You can also convey the fact that you're really stressed and worried. So, taking that extra second to like calm down and be in your character, and that kind of leads into the next thing that I've learned. And I'm working with an awesome voice coach right now, Barbara Niles, and she reminds me every time. I think every coach, every teacher that I've had has told me this in some capacity, is like, you need to have a story going in. So it doesn't matter if it's for a Taco Bell commercial or a hospital commercial or, anything else. You create a story that you can follow through with. So like, say for example, I on my demo reel, I think it's like a Taco Bell commercial, and I read through it the first time and I was like, okay, I kind of get this. Like, I'm I'm at Taco Bell. I'm ordering their, 3 Taco Supremes or something. Yeah. And my coach was like, that's great, but we need you to make a story out of it so we can believe you. And so I was like, oh, well, I had this friend that, when we'd go out to bars and, have a really good night and get drunk, we'd always get, Taco Bell or McDonald's, depending on the night. But we'd always get super hungry after we come back home, right? Yeah. So we would just go through the drive-through and sometimes get our Uber driver to like go through the drive-through and just order like an insane amount of food for no reason. But like I told her that story and she was like, okay, you're there with your friends. Like, give me the line. And I talked like I would be talking to them. And it sold her on it. And she was like, that's what you need to do for every single script. Any copy that you get, you need to know what your story is going in. And I had what was it recently? Last week, I think it was a hospital coffee. I think it was like St. Jude's that my coach gave me. And she was like, okay, what's your story? And we came up with a story of how, I'm walking out of the hospital feeling relief after this long period of time. And it was moving. It really was. I was surprised at what came out of my mouth because I was like, that is completely different than the young, bubbly, vocal fry that I usually do. It was, I'm okay. Like, it was very much like, a calm, nurturing almost. Yeah. So yeah, I think no matter what it is, no matter how silly it is, my coach says I come up with the craziest stories for the most simple, for like the simplest of spots. And she loves it. She loves it because it's like, use that, because if you decide your story, because if you believe it, then you will give a believing read, a believable read. So I think that's the big thing, being comfortable, knowing your voice, knowing your story. And there's a lot of other things, but those are probably the biggest things that I've heard repeatedly.
Wow. And tell me, if you could do the voiceover for a movie, TV show, or video game, which one you will choose? Like right now.
Okay, so obviously I would love to have my voice on television, but I'm a sucker for video games. I love playing video games. Okay. And I would love to just have my voice as like some sort of like femme fatale character, or, some like just badass character on a video game that I would play. Like the Resident Evils, or I've been playing through Skyrim so much. I played like hours today. I would love to just be like a Jarl or like some sort of witch on Skyrim. That would be fun. So yeah, I think some sort of like action video game. That would be really cool.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Now, what I'm seeing here, Aaron just tuned in. Hi, Aaron. He's the one that plays as the Dirk. He's a super awesome, talented actor. Make sure that everyone who's watch the interview on Spotify. Yeah. But anyway, moving on. That's really cool. So for Skyrim, that would be great. That would be pretty interesting.
Yeah. And since you said Aaron, right? Yeah. So like the Resident Evils, like those characters, that would be dope. Like that's so amazing. I would love to do like an action or a horror movie game, a video game.
That would be epic. Let's make a hashtag right now. Let's make a hashtag like Ariel. No, we would put hashtag Capcom include Ariel for the next Resident Evil or something like that.
Perfect. I love it.
Or for the next Skyrim or for something like that. And
Zelda, please.
And it's so interesting because back in the day, like video games, they will have the characters of course and everything, but you can tell that the company who was making them, they didn't like put much effort on it, like most of the voices from the old the old games, they were like super generic, super like like you were thinking nobody will talk like that in the middle of a situation like that.
Exactly.
For example, I think like one of the voice acting that pretty much that for me at least when I was a kid that really amazed me was for this video game called Conquer Bad Fur Day.
Okay.
For the Nintendo 64. I mean, like he was like the acting, it was funny because he was like this squirrel, but he was cursing and be like and kind of be funny and having like expressions and everything. So that was really cool. And now, like from this type of games that we have, like Tomb Raider, Horizon Zero Dawn, Resident Evil, Cyberpunk, like all of those video games, you can tell now that they're including like a more professional voice acting, and it's amazing because now you can actually and also they're including the fact that they include voice acting and motion capture at the same time. So you can see like the movements and everything. I think that is one of the amazing things of technology these days, right? That we have like this epic characters that they move real, not like back in the day. And
my boyfriend and I just finished playing Man of Medan. It's that from that anthology. And I love what they do with their motion capture, where they have the actors, like the characters' actual faces.
Yeah.
Like that is probably the dream, is to be on a video game that also has my face somehow.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Made in that. That would be. I think that's probably the cherry on top. Myself actually in the game too.
That would be cool. Or also, or also like if they're using like because I've been also seeing that they will use somebody else, and then for the face, for the for like the model, let's say, and they will use the voice. And I've been checking interviews that even though the actors who play a totally different person, some people would say, "Oh, that's you." Like they instantly kind of relate to them. Like, that totally looks like you. Like in some characters, I realize. I mean, I saw like in some interviews that they will say that, which is pretty interesting.
Right, because they're almost like changing their voice. Almost, they're like matching the voice to the face, kind of.
Yeah.
Like enough for it to be believable.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's really awesome that the gaming industry is now like including more actors into this kind of video games, which back in the day didn't. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, and for a movie, which one you would choose?
For a movie, I mean, I am big into like the Marvel movies.
There we go.
So doing something that like doing something silly like Rocket from Guardians of the Galaxy. You know what I mean? Like that type of
like
character.
that type of thing. Like
it's so fun.
That would be really cool. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Like did you watch there's a video on YouTube of Bradley Cooper making like the sounds and the voices from Rocket, and they're recording him while they're making that. That's so fun.
Yeah, and it's so funny, when I first watched like the first Guardians of the Galaxy, I had no idea that was Bradley Cooper. None. And I was like, the Bradley Cooper I know doesn't like it's just me, it doesn't sound like him to me. He does something specifically, like something special for that character, and it works perfectly. But like if he were to talk like that in any other situation, I'd be like, that's not Bradley Cooper. I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
But I mean, like that is, I think that type of character would be really, really fun. To be in, a live action movie, but be a character kind of thing. That would be really dope. And then for like TV shows, I would love to be in like Bob's Burgers. That's one of my favorite. It's like my favorite like animated show. It's so funny, and the characters are so. To be drawn into that world would be amazing.
Yeah, totally. Totally. I also saw one time this. Did you watch? I mean, have you ever watched the show Rick and Morty?
Yeah.
Okay. So the other day I was watching how the voice actor for Rick, how he was doing like the whole voice acting and everything. Yeah. And it's funny because at some point on on that video, it was showing that he was actually getting drunk while he was making the voices.
Yeah.
Like he was really getting drunk, and at some point, like all the producer was like, you know what, you can't drink, and he was just cursing at them and everything, and everyone loved it. So, and you can tell like when you're like watching the show, and you're like, that's really epic, because he was really drunk. So
he's really drunk. Yeah, some people really take to their characters. Like I would not personally recommend to anybody to like actively get, because like actively get drunk, and some like especially for like stuff like animation and video games, those recording sessions can be like hours long, right?
Yeah.
And so to like make sure you're at that level, but do it every time you come into the studio, I really feel like that's probably a bad habit. Like it works for Justin Roiland, it works for him, so I'm sure he's just like, that I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, that's really cool.
But like that is again like a very specific type of character, right? And everybody knows Rick. Everybody knows Rick and Morty. Like even if you don't watch the show, you know that character.
Yeah.
So I can't believe he does that to his voice every single time, but it delivers, right?
And amazing.
Whatever works.
It really. Or for example, this guy, is it Seth MacFarlane, the one from Family Guy?
Yeah.
That he made like a lot of like most of the characters he make them. That's really cool.
Yeah.
From Peter to Quagmire to everything. That's really cool.
Right. Yeah, and I think from Rick and Morty, doesn't Justin Roiland also do Morty?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
The fact that he can do both of them, like interchangeably, and they have such that dialogue back and forth. Like, I know he's got to record all of Rick's and then all of Morty's. I'm sure. I'm sure he can't bounce back and forth. I mean, maybe he can. I don't know.
Cool. Yeah,
that would be
cool.
That would be really tiring.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, moving on to your Instagram page, tell me which post it's the one that you like the most, and what's the backstory for that one?
So I was looking through my Instagram, and I have like a few favorites, but as far as the voice acting is concerned, I really like the one where I'm in the jacket, and it's kind of like this faded blue, and I have all the crazy makeup on with like it was like the gray blazer. That one is probably my favorite because I did something that I never do, and I went completely out of the box, like both in my voice and my looks.
Yeah.
I don't ever, I post like, nice, pretty stuff on Instagram, but I never do like super kooky. And I decided one day, I was like, you know what? I want to do this kind of like series, like this little mini series about like just taking some random copy, editing it together, and then pairing it with some sort of look. And this one I was really excited about. I wanted to make it kind of like dystopian, like futuristic dystopian. I kind of imagine, again, making this story, right? Imagine this lady in like if you think of like the Hunger Games, like the people on top, like the corporate people, right?
Yeah.
And I just had this image in my head that she had this like pink and blue makeup and kind of like this gray outline. And I was like, okay, cool. I have that image in my head. Now I need to make the voice to match it. I need to make the makeup to match it. I need to, pull the outfit together. And I was just, I have taken some months off for life reasons. And doing that helped me feel like, this is fun. Like sometimes you forget like why you get into doing things.
Yeah.
And that helped me kind of jump, like, kicked me a little bit and was like, I love this. This is fun. This is a good time. Like I get to just make silly voices. Cool. Like I'm just going to keep working until I can do that full time.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Of course. And tell me, what kind of content are we going to see in your Instagram page, like in the future?
So I want to keep doing what I've been doing. I've again taken a little bit of a break for various reasons, but getting back into it, I want to do some more kind of more creative choices as far as voices are concerned. Maybe matching up the outfits to it too, because I always that's just fun.
Yeah.
I'm not a makeup artist or anything, or I can't do much with my hair, but I can, throw together a cute little look for
do it for fun.
Some sort of character. Yeah. And that probably satisfies the theater kid in me too. But yeah, I definitely want to continue that series. I want to make sure that I'm kind of showing people that come to my page the different categories of voices I can do. I can do little kid voices. I can do teenager voices. I can do little boy voices. I can do mature older woman voices. I can do all of these things. It's just a matter of doing them.
Yeah, of course.
And getting that out for people. So over the next few months, I'm going to try and do some more, in my free time and just have fun with it. And just put some, fun posts out that people can listen to. And if they like me, go to my website, book me. If they don't, they don't. Whatever. I'm having fun with it. So
yeah, that's the important thing to have, to actually enjoying it, right? Because sometimes if you're doing something without that you hate or that you don't enjoy, I mean, pretty much your results your results are gonna stuck, and you will not want to continue growing or something. You're gonna be like, I don't care. I just want the money, So that's really cool, that the fact that you are doing it for fun, but also is your passion. So that's really cool.
Thank you.
Now, tell me, what do you like the most about making content?
So for Instagram, you mean like specifically for Instagram or just in general?
Yeah, for Instagram, both.
Okay.
Let's go for both.
Yeah, so I specifically, I think it started like anybody else's Instagram page. Like I started because I wanted to, I had another Instagram account, but it was, it was like, about family stuff and friends and moving. And once I was here, and I was here for about a year, I was like, I kind of want to move away from that and make it, make it more, not artsy. That's not the word. That's not what I'm trying to say, but more like professional almost. Like it would kind of encapsulate who I want to be.
Yeah.
And it had a rocky start. I was just kind of like posting things just for the sake of posting them. But over the last year, and then I kind of just stopped. It just kind of like died off because I was tired of it. I felt like it was fake. I felt like I wasn't putting out any content that I actually enjoyed. I was just doing it to try and get more followers. I mean, and everyone falls into that trap. Everybody who's on, who wants to do stuff for Instagram. But I was like, this isn't me. This isn't me being true to who I am. So I stopped caring about getting followers, and I just started posting things that I liked. I just started posting, I was like, I look good today. I'm going to post a picture of that. Or I went to this really cool thing with my boyfriend. I'm going to post a picture of this. And that's just kind of how that's how it started going. And then I started getting more engagement, and I was like, yeah, I could continue down that path and worry about the followers again, or I could just keep posting things that I want to post. Because there's like a whole. I have a friend who took Instagram classes and was really, really good at photo editing and color schemes and aesthetic and Instagram aesthetic, and she blew up, and she had thousands and thousands of followers. But it's also regarding her passion, which at the time was fashion. Yeah. So I was like, wow, that's really cool that she did that, twinge of jealousy, right? But also that's who she is. That works for her. And I realized that wasn't working for me. Yeah. And so once I started posting stuff about my job and going into voice acting and talking about mental health. I do that a lot too. And it's people started responding to that. And I was like, yeah, I don't care about that anymore. I don't care about, posting necessarily for engagement. I mean, of course, everybody likes validation. Yeah. But I just like posting the things that make me happy, posting things that yeah, I went to a costume party and I was really proud of my costume. Like, here it is. Like, or I did this really funny TikTok voiceover challenge. I want to share that.
Yeah.
Like that's what I have started doing in the past year, and I have fallen back in love with it. And like I said earlier, I've been taking some breaks, just, you know, for various reasons. And I am, whenever I get back into Instagram, I get excited again, right? Instagram or TikTok or whatever I'm doing. I'm like, I have these bursts of energy, right? Where I'm like, I'll post every day for a week and then I won't post for another month. And, you know, I could stress myself out about like posting regularly and, you know, commenting and engaging and stuff like that. But that's not where I choose to put my energy. If I'm going to put my energy into voice acting, I'll do it on, you know, I'll do it on TikTok and then share it on Instagram when I feel like it, or I'll share it on my Facebook page. So yeah, I think that the short answer is I like to post the things that, you know, give me a burst of dopamine, that make me happy, you know? And if other people enjoy that too, great. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that you need to, you need to be you, and eventually you will, and eventually the right audience is gonna find you.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, if you play something, somebody else, or if you do something, as you said, for like followers or everything, you're not going to enjoy it at all, and you're gonna be, you're gonna frustrate a lot, because if you lose even one, you're gonna be like, what is going on? You know, so I do believe that too. That you need to just be you, put the things you like, and eventually the right audience is gonna find you.
Right.
Now, if you could describe your career at the moment using five words, which ones you will use?
So, describing my career.
At the moment, yeah.
Okay, yeah. In college, I had this song that I would listen to repeatedly.
Okay.
All the time. And it was Masterpiece by Jessie J. And it's, you know, it's all about her being like, I haven't reached my best yet. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep climbing this mountain, and I'm going to do the best that I can. But my best is not my best right now.
Yeah.
It's not my ultimate masterpiece. It's not my ultimate best. So I would say that, you know, my career right now is, still working on my masterpiece. I would say that. That's 5, right? Still working on my masterpiece. Yes. And that's what I mean by that is, over the past year, and I've talked about this a little bit on my Instagram and my content.
Yeah.
Especially with COVID, and I know that COVID has kind of been, you know, like a coming together of everyone, right? We're all having this shared experience.
Yeah.
Your mental health and your physical health, right, are equally important. They're equally important.
Yeah.
And this past year, myself, you know, included in this, we've all had a hard time. And, you know, when you sit in a room for a year, right, not being able to go out and travel, not being able to go do the things you knew, like I myself was laid off, like not being able to go to work and losing that routine.
Yeah.
It's so hard for you to do the things that you want to do. Especially if you're neurodivergent or you have mental health issues. Like, it is extremely difficult to get out of bed and work on your passions.
Yeah.
Let alone your chores, you know what I mean? So I've been like, more often than not, I feel like I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
I am not getting enough done. I'm not doing enough content. I'm not doing enough gigs. And I could do that every single day. But what I'm realizing now is that there's literally no pressure happening except for that on myself.
Yeah.
No one's pushing me. I'm pushing myself. And, you know, still working on my masterpiece. I am not at a point Like, I'm doing the best that I can right now. I am doing my best today. And tomorrow, my best will look different. And next year, my best will look different. Yeah. And eventually, you know, you will get to a point, everyone gets to a point in their life where like, this is it. This is the peak. This is the best I've ever done.
Yeah.
But that doesn't ever mean it's stopped. Like, you can always do more. You can always do better, but just be okay with like the best in the present. So yeah, that's probably how I would describe my career right now.
That's very deep, by the way.
Work in progress. Thank you. Really, it's like, cool. In other words, a work in progress.
Yeah, no, but it's really cool, and I do agree. Yeah, I do agree also that the whole pandemic. I mean, besides COVID, of course, like one of the things that also caused was this huge of mental issues. Yeah, because whenever you got the chance to go to work or to go outside, you will leave all of your problems behind so you can do other activities. Right. And then when you got free or whenever you were like without doing like relaxing, let's say, like all of those bad things will eventually come. But now, since all of us we will have to stay inside, then I mean, personally for me, one of the things that I discovered is that now that you can't go anywhere, the best thing you can do is to face them, you know, and to find a way to proper solve them one at a time, and to be said that to be kind of not prepared, but just to be mentally prepared to go just one step at a time, you know, because everyone, of course, will have like our mental issues here and there, of course, or even our bad days or whatever. But I do think that if you take like one step at a time, you will not feel stressed, because I mean, everyone loves changes like that, right? Like super fast,
yeah,
right? Like I want to be all jacked up and voila, the next morning you're like that. But no, I mean, you have to put the work on it. But yeah, I do agree that COVID did. Well, like one of the things COVID did was that to make people face their own problems every single time, right? And you can tell also like the other day I was reading that like a lot of divorces happened during COVID, but like a lot of them, like totally a lot of them, and that's understandable. But at the same time, I mean, I think that you need to. I mean, it's not easy, of course, but yeah, COVID at the end did that. So.
Yeah, and like the communication with yourself, the communication with other people. Yeah. Like, I am an extrovert. I love people. I recharge with people. But COVID, like the whole pandemic, I was sitting in a room the majority of the time. Yeah. And like that starved me in ways I had never felt before. And now it's made me more anxious around people. Like I'm still like able to recharge around people, but I find I get way more tired.
Yeah.
Like in social situations, like I get like I want to go home. And I never used to be like that. I never used to be like that.
Yeah.
But you get so used to it and your brain rewires.
Yeah.
And this past year, we've all taught ourselves, you know, indirectly, of course, that we are alone. We need to be alone, right? And I think what we're learning out of all of that is we have to be around people. Like, to some degree, we get some sort of, you know, gratification from being around other people. And it's not just extroverts either. It's, you know, like my boyfriend's an introvert and he was feeling starved. And he was like, this is, you know, it's so draining. Yeah. To do nothing is so draining. And you wouldn't think that, but it's true. But yeah, I think that, you know, that is something that is thankfully being talked about more. Like mental health is being talked about more. And I'm seeing, you know, commercials for therapy and counseling. Yeah. Never saw that before the pandemic.
Yeah.
You know, and that is, I have more and more friends like going to therapy, and I myself have a therapist, and like it's so important to make sure like you get your mental checkups as much as you get your physical checkups, if not more often. You know, and so I think that, you know, if anything was to come out of such a horrible year, for everybody. You know, having that conversation open back up. Your mental health permeates everything.
Yeah.
Whether you want it to or not, right? Though, like you said, those thoughts, when you have a moment alone, that's when those thoughts come back.
Yeah. They will pretty much hunt you. So you need to.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I do. I like. And another thing, I mean, if you live with someone else, whenever you were having a bad day, and then it's not the other person's fault if you're having a bad day, so there's no reason to kind of explode in front of that person. You know what I mean? So that is like one of the things that I saw on people that they were doing, like having roommates or even couples, that they will just be super stressed about the whole thing, but there's ways to handle that. There is the proper way to not create even a worse moment, since you're pretty much both inside, you know what I mean? So
yeah, and I think that, you know, I moved in with my boyfriend February, so tail end of the pandemic, but you know, we found a place that thankfully has 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. So although we have the master bedroom, right, he was able to work in the other bedroom. And you know, as much as we love being around each other, we both recharge in different ways, and we need to have that space sometimes, like everybody else does, and there's nothing wrong with that. But he was working from home up until very recently, and so, you know, him being able to have that space was important to him. And you know, now that he's back at work, it's just me. You know, I think that, you know, having that communication, and hopefully in the years to come, right, we will be able to continue having an open conversation about it, and not completely shut down that conversation. It's, you know, it's changed a lot of things about how people see the world and see themselves too, which, you know, is important. As hard as it is important.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that was very deep.
I mean, I love those types of conversations. So sorry I didn't warn you that was gonna happen.
No, I do like them too, because once everything is done, everything, I tend to. So for all the interviews I had at the moment, every night before I go to bed, I tend to think about it, like how the interview went, some of the things they said, and sometimes when the interview goes deep, I will be thinking about it, it is true, actually. You know what I mean?
It's kind of marinating. Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure.
So that's nice. I mean, I do get it. I do also those deep talks. Absolutely. So that's really cool. Now, going to a more of a happy place. Could you recommend a movie or a TV show?
Okay. Yes. So let's see. Currently, I'm watching Search Party on HBO.
Okay.
I really love that. My boyfriend got me into it. It's super fun. I'm big on murder mysteries and thrillers and that kind of thing. So we're watching Search Party, and they're only 20 minutes. I think it's a half-hour comedy, but it's dark. It's like weird and twisted, even though it's a comedy. I would really recommend that one. That one's a fun one. Another one we really liked, I think it was called, oh gosh, where was it? I want to say it was on Amazon Prime. I'll have to look. But it was called The Stranger, I think. That's another murder mystery. Fantastic. Really well done. I like things that I have to guess or figure out. But other than that, we've also been watching Succession. That is fabulous. It's very gritty. And we just finished, I was really behind on this, but we just finished the 2nd season of Big Little Lies.
Yeah.
Finally got around to it. Also amazing, very gritty. And Probably the last one I'll say is one of my favorites of all time. And I see my best friend was just on here. I don't know if he still is, but we both love BoJack Horseman.
Oh, yeah, I know that one.
Yeah,
yeah.
That one, that'll wreck you, but it is so well done. Yeah. You know, we started watching it, and it was like, oh, animated comedy? Sure. No. But it's, you know, it's so spectacular.
Cool. And any advice that you could give to someone who starts following their dreams?
This is gonna get a little deep again.
Here we go.
So, you know.
Here we go. Let's get ready. For the break.
So I'm gonna share with you something my voice coach Barbara Niles shared with me. I think it was last session that we had. I was telling her that she was asking me about gigs, and I said, I'm going to be honest with you, Barbara, like I haven't been auditioning. I haven't been auditioning, and I haven't been doing gigs as I should be doing. I'm tired. I'm burned out on life. I feel like I'm just, I feel guilty about it. I feel guilty that I'm not doing what I feel like I should be doing, right? And she looked at me and she said, no. I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, no one's putting that pressure on you but you.
Yeah.
There is no timeline. And she said, we are not on this earth to do voice acting. We are not on this earth to do writing or directing or whatever it is that you're doing. We love those things and we're passionate about those things. But we aren't letting anyone down by taking time for yourself.
Yeah.
And she said, the thing that really stayed with me about it is she said, you love voice acting. That's not going to change. So when you are ready to come back to it, it'll be there for you. It's not going to go away. And that's probably something I would really encourage other people is that stop rehashing this internalized guilt of that you have to be productive to have value, because you don't. You inherently have value as a person.
Yeah.
Being alive, you have value.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where you put your energy, that's up to you. It really is. But if you decide to, for a day, a week, a month, put that energy into yourself and not towards your passion, okay. There's not a timeline. Essentially is what I'm saying and that's something that's really hard for me as, a kid who was called gifted, growing up and like making the grades that I needed to and getting into the good college that I needed to. And, that stuff is all good, but it burns you out. And when you get to this point in life where you're ready to start following your dreams, do it, but do it at your pace. You're literally following your dreams so you can end up doing what you want.
Yeah.
Why are you making yourself miserable in the process? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's no timeline. There's literally no timeline. And if anyone says that there is, they're lying to you because your life is your life and you have value no matter what you're doing with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So. And plus, I think that if you put pressure on you and you want to go fast, you will not enjoy all those moments that are gonna that will take you eventually to what you want. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's also very deep. Wow. Yeah, that pretty much got me thinking. I mean, it got me thinking because it's interesting because I mean, of course, all of us here and there. I mean, me personally, I do have like sometimes this pressure moments in which I'm like, okay, so I got this interview for this day, and this one for this day, and this one for another day, and this one for another day. I need to put this, and sometimes I will tend to be like quicker, but then what ended up happening is that when I finish, I discover and I'm like, no, I don't like it. So I need to restart again. But when I restart again, I'm like more calm and be like, okay, let's chill out. Let's do everything one step at a time. Because if you want to do all things like super fast, yes, I mean maybe that will work. But you know that it's not gonna be like 100% you because you just did it to rush it out. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
yeah. Yeah, that's very deep, by the way. But yeah, wow. Well, I have to say, Ariel, thank you so much for being here at the show. It was really awesome to have you. Definitely, I can't wait for more of the amazing things that you will eventually do one day. Hopefully, we will see you in Marvel or DC or a video game
one day.
Yeah, I'm super sure that day will eventually come. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
It was super awesome, a super inspirational and deep conversation. That's one of those that I really enjoy.
Thank you.
Before I send you off, I need to send you off in an epic way again. So let's go with the cheering effects. Here we go.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. What an outro. I really appreciate it.
There you go. And yeah, keep having an amazing rest of the evening. Yeah.
You too.
And keep being that amazing, awesome person. And I'll see you. Also, thank you for those who are watching. Make sure that you are following her. If you're not, you can pause this for a while, go follow her, leave a couple of likes, 1 or 2 or 5, whatever, and then come back. And yeah, again, thank you so much. And I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, and all my links are in my bio.
Yes.
I have a Facebook page, Insta, obviously, and my website if you want to go check out the reel. I also have my email on there too. So, all right, thank you so much, Dan. I really appreciate it.
All right, have a good one, okay?
All right, you too.
Bye.